Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Hello, dummies, and welcome to episode number 41. 41 of the stupidest sports show on earth. My name, as you all know, is Tim Agent Zero Van Stratton. With me is Rodney Newpol. Super Bowl week, a couple days away. I know Rodney's excited, and I was talking yesterday. Well, first of all, good morning, Rodney. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? I stayed up late to watch some of your Lakers last night. I know we'll talk more about that, and I know you'll talk more about that. But good night in the NBA last night. NBA's fun, man. I know we're gonna get a Super Bowl, but NBA slept on by many sports fans.
The trade deadline has reignited my love of watching regular season basketball a bit. Because I'm with you. We talk about it all the time. I love the NBA. Always have. It's annoying when people are like, oh, the product is bad, when just because everyone is really good. But yeah, I watched all last night. That was a fun one. LeBron James. He's 40 years old. He had, what was it, 42 points, 17 rebounds?
Yeah.
6 assists or 8 assists?
I believe 6.
6. Okay. Yeah. 42, 18 and 6 or whatever it was. That's amazing. That's amazing. And not enough people talk about it. Like, people just were like, oh, it's ho hum. No, nothing really to expect. But are you at all excited for Sunday?
Well, okay, so that's interesting you say that, because I meant to put this up earlier in the week, and we'll let it run for 2 days and kind of give a. So I put a poll up on my personal Twitter today, and 11 people have voted. And the question was, what's your level of excitement for the Super Bowl? And the choices were not at all, kinda, yeah, I'm ready, or super pumped. Now, Don't get me wrong, I just put this up within the last 35 minutes, so there's really only been about 12 votes so far. I'm guessing I'll get 30 to 40 by the time the 2 days is up. Maybe more than that if our show shares it and everything else. But anyways, 64% are just saying, kinda. 27% are saying not at all. And then you got 9% saying, yeah, I'm ready. Nobody's super pumped. So, I feel like this year we've just kind of, yeah, I don't know. And I wonder if the NFL has done such a good job, such a great job of marketing their regular season, marketing their postseason, the hype of daily fantasy, betting your games, the red zone channel, that when now you get a standalone game and you just kind of I don't know. I don't really love this, one game. I don't flip the channels. I don't have all these lineups going in DFS. I have a few bets, but now we're doing that every day. We're doing that every game. Yeah. 10 years ago, this was the betting pinnacle. Ooh, bet on the Super Bowl. Well, you got to do it in Costa Rica. But yes, you have all these bets. Now everybody knows what the bets are. Everybody's talked about it for 2 weeks. I don't know. Something obviously has changed here, and not a ton of excitement for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you know what? I think that you've made a lot of really good points, and I didn't even think too much about the betting angle of it. But yeah, there was always something where it's the person that didn't really follow sports, even they bet on the Super Bowl, right? Which maybe that's true. Maybe that's still true for some people. And this is they use this day as the one day that they will oh, I'm gonna put a bet down. Why not? But just because of how much betting just consumes everything now when it comes to sports, it's probably not that many people that are like that, because they're oh yeah, I've been betting on the NFL playoffs. I bet on Championship Sunday. But yeah, that's a really good point. And also, probably the fact that this is this is the big sports day where typically a lot of people are watching the event with other people at a party. Perhaps you're watching it with people that don't really like football. I know you and me are both kind of people who like watching football not surrounded by a ton of people, because you don't want to hear other people's opinions during the game. And I'm especially if I'm watching my own team, I need to be alone, because I don't want to hear any shit from anyone. But like the Super Bowl isn't that. You're with people. Sometimes they're your friends, sometimes they're not, and you
Yeah.
just got to deal with it. There's the commercials. It's a
Yeah,
lot. I know we're talking bad. I know we're talking bad about it. Like, of course we're still gonna watch. Like, it's football. It's the last football game until September. Like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm sure on Sunday I'm gonna hang on every single play. But I also think it's hurt by the matchup as well. I think just people going in were hoping that it wasn't going to be the Chiefs again. That the Eagles are not super likable still, even though I think probably more people are going to be rooting for them just because they don't want to win again. Yeah.
So in years ago, the Super Bowl used to be the hype of all the commercials, but I feel like in our digital world, like we're already seeing some
Yeah.
of this
Okay.
stuff. Right.
Okay. So thank you for bringing that up. Today, I didn't click on it, but today I opened up my app for The Athletic and I saw something there. It's Friday, right? This is 2 days before the Super Bowl. It said ranking every Super Bowl 59 commercial. Like they already had all the commercials and they were already doing the rankings for them 2 days before we see them on TV. Why? Why are we doing this? And we've been doing this for years now where the Super Bowl is like, oh, they get teased a couple weeks before it. It's like, oh, see the rest, February 9th. Ooh. And then like now we know all of them already. And I'm still going out of my way to not watch them, but why are they even available? I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean it's the world of need it now, need the information now, need the clicks now, I mean that's what it is. And that's what brought a great portion of Super Bowl watchers to the Super Bowl is the commercials. If you're going to see them ahead of time, then why are those people going to watch? I even see a movement for ban the Super Bowl going on there now. I thought that was over January 20th. I thought we were done kind of banning things. But anyways, they're banning it because of corruption with officials. I mean, let me just say this now. If you think that the NFL is rigging this game for the Kansas City Chiefs, put your money on the Chiefs now. You'll be rich. Just do it. Quit talking about it and do it.
Yeah. No, yes. Like if that's what you wholeheartedly believe, that the NFL is making it so that it's destined to be a three-peat, then make money on it. Bet on them. Bet on them. Go for it. Like, do it. So yeah, you're right. I don't know. So that's why they're banning it. They're not banning it because of woke, because we got rid of that with no more end racism in the end zones. Which congratulations, by the way, to the NFL for ending racism. I didn't think it'd be possible, but we did it. I'm very happy to hear that. So mission accomplished, Roger.
I mean, there was a few reasons they wanted to ban the Super Bowl. It was Taylor Swift, of course, was involved, but the whole conspiracies of Kansas City and the Chiefs and the NFL and the officials. Yeah. And I mean, you understand the point there.
Look, oh no, I understand. And listen, I know that a league like the NFL wants nothing more than to rig everything for a team from Kansas City, Missouri.
Right.
It's very obvious. Like, why would they want a team like the Dallas Cowboys or either New York team to be successful when they could have Kansas City have a dynasty?
Right, right in the middle, of America, who most people don't realize if they're in Kansas or Missouri. If you remember from the first time they won the Super Bowl, and our leader congratulated the state of Kansas. Congratulations to the state of Kansas, the great state of Kansas, on winning your Super Bowl. They're based in Missouri, by the way. Yeah. Anyways, don't we want to talk a little NBA trade deadline?
Yes.
We do.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, I got to say, so we didn't get the Durant deal like I predicted on Tuesday night, but all in all, like, it wasn't just Luka and a bunch of nothing. Like, it was a pretty damn good deadline, all things considered, the last week or so. Like, so I'm just going to give you a list of teams, not even the trades, right? Just these are some of the players that are on new teams that were on different teams just 1 week ago. Okay. Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Brandon Ingram, De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine, Kyle Kuzma, Chris Middleton, DeAndre Hunter, Mark Williams, Bogdan Bogdanovic. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good trade deadline, and those are some significant names that are all moving parts. It certainly affects a large portion of the league, and like one of the fun things about the NBA is that it really, you look at the standings, and more often than not, the difference between like the 4 seed and the 10 seed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a couple games.
Right.
It's a couple games, and we're getting to the point now. I know people like to say, "Oh, well, the regular season doesn't matter at all." The last couple months, it's going to matter a lot when 2 losses separate you in a 5 seed versus you in a 10 seed, potentially like having to win 2 road playoff games just to even make it to the playoffs. So
yeah, one name you didn't mention, Dennis Schroeder. The dude literally like living in a moving van. Like nobody wants the guy. He's not a bad player. He's not a bad player. Just nobody wants him. I found it interesting. Like, didn't he describe the trade market as like modern slavery?
Modern day slavery. Yeah. The perfect person to just ship all across the country against his will to multiple places. Like,
you're going
like,
here.
Come
no,
on, man.
Here. Yeah. He was like, he didn't even arrive in any city yet. And there, I'm going over there. I'm going over there. So I believe he's in Detroit.
He is in Detroit now. That is the final place for Dennis Schroeder.
But are they going to keep him?
Well, now I think so, right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, you get some of these guys just via trade, and then you're like, yeah, we're probably going to buy him out. Like, we're probably going to get rid of him because the buyout market's coming soon in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, then you can start, you know, teams that need players can maybe pick up a dude or two. But I mean, I don't know what Detroit. I mean, Detroit's better. I mean, that's the fact of the matter here is Detroit is better. But I just didn't know if Dennis Schroeder was actually part of their plans or he just was a guy they accumulated and now they're going to buy him out and then he can go somewhere else. But yeah, it was Dennis. But yeah, I mean, so back to your point, like those are great names, and I mean, it's got to be the biggest trade deadline we've ever seen in the NBA. I mean, that happened when Luka trade happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't see that.
Yeah.
But now we've got other guys with it. You know, we spent a good majority of our show Tuesday talking NBA trade deadline and never talked to Aaron Fox. Like he's a game changer in San Antonio, and San Antonio is on the verge of being a problem.
So
good.
I was thinking about this with San Antonio. So they get De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Without giving up Vassell, without giving up Stephon Castle, without giving up like really any of their core players. I think the only guys that they lost in this, it was what? Zach Collins, Trey Jones.
Yeah.
For De'Aaron Fox.
Right.
They didn't have to give up the first-round pick for Atlanta, which they have now because when they traded Dejounte Murray, right? A couple years ago.
Right.
They got those picks. They didn't even get that back. So like Sacramento at bare minimum should have gotten that. I think the only first round pick they got from the Spurs was for 2027. By 2027 with Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox, that's not going to be a very high draft pick, I don't think. But so it's like I look at the Spurs, I was like, okay, they have Wemby, who's already a top 10 player in the league, and he's only going to go up. De'Aaron Fox is super good. They have a young core that they're building around those guys. And they have these first round picks, including an Atlanta pick that if you look at the Hawks right now, they're selling. Jalen Johnson's out for the year. There's a chance, okay? There's a chance that that's a top 10 pick. And given how the lottery works, right? You never know how this can go. I mean, for God's sake, the Hawks got the first overall pick this last year at 1% or whatever it was. Could you imagine if that unprotected pick becomes number 1 overall and Cooper Flagg joins Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox on the San Antonio Spurs, then suddenly the Spurs become maybe not immediately because you still have OKC and stuff, but like suddenly the Spurs, that title window, it expands and it stays open indefinitely, probably longer than any other team in the league right now.
Yeah. So right now Atlanta's 10th as far as worst to best, and San Antonio is 11th. But yeah, as you said, Atlanta's kind of free fall, and you look at some of these teams that Atlanta's currently ahead that they likely will drop below. Like Portland is still below them. They're surging. I would guess Portland will be better than Atlanta by the end of the year. The Bulls are a half game behind Atlanta. I mean, they're trying to make the playoffs, and that's another team we can talk about. Philadelphia's below them. So, yeah, I mean, Atlanta's going to drop, and that San Antonio pick theoretically is going to be a top 6 or 7. And then, like you said, with the lottery, you never know. It could be a 1, could be a 2. San Antonio is going to be a big-time problem.
Do you have a particular move? The De'Aaron Fox move, I think we're both strongly in favor of from San Antonio's perspective. Do you have another move that you saw that wasn't the Luka deal where you were like, I really like this move for this team? Or I really thought that this team made a good decision to get rid of this guy. They got a nice haul back. Like, was there any move in particular that really stuck out to you where you were like, you know what, I think this will work out pretty well?
Well, I'm actually going to answer your question on the other side. Like, I did not like the Jimmy Butler move.
For who?
For Golden State, and then to Max or whatever, Max extend him for the amount instantly, basically.
2 years, 2 years with a player option after the first year, so it's not like they gave him 5 years.
Yeah, I know, but I don't see Golden State's window even open. I really don't. I really don't. Like Steph Curry. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love Steph Curry. I love what he's done for the league, but I feel like his time as that alpha is kind of over, right? Like, they're 25 and 26 with that they have now. Like, Jimmy Butler could come in there and may help them win a few games, but like their ceiling's probably like 8th in the West right now. Like, the West is so good, and I just don't know. I don't know about Butler, like him and Draymond together. Like, how's that going to work? Like, you got two dudes that necessarily want to be that guy, but neither one really want to take that leadership to be that guy without arguing with the other guy.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work out real well, to be honest with you. Check back in a year or two. Let me know how this one goes. But I did not like the Jimmy Butler move, but it was more so I didn't like Jimmy Butler going anywhere because I just felt his behavior and his demeanor and was just horrific. Like, who would want that? I didn't love that move. On the other side, let me turn this to you. What was your favorite move? You cannot say Luka because you're a Lakers fan,
right? So this is going to sound strange because, like, as far as the big moves, like it was Luka, it was Fox, it was Butler, Brandon Ingram, which I'm more confused at what the Raptors do, just period. Like, I can't figure out what the Raptors are trying to do. And it sounds like Ingram's getting an extension there. But I think that Cleveland getting DeAndre Hunter is getting very overlooked. I don't know if he is going to start for them. I don't know if he's going to be a sixth man, but he fits really perfectly there. And like you're now crunch time 5 of Garland, Mitchell, Hunter, Mobley, Allen. That's a really, really good lineup. And they didn't have to give up a first-round pick for it. It was just a bunch of second-round picks, Karis LeVert. But I feel like Hunter just does a little bit more than LeVert does. LeVert's kind of a one-dimensional player in some ways. But like DeAndre Hunter could still be really good. And he's young. I like Cleveland by all the metrics and by everything you look for in terms of who's a potential title team, like they check every single box.
Yeah.
And they got better. And there's risk with like changing the chemistry of how you're leading the East now. Is it worth it to make a trade to change the chemistry, to change the locker room, whatever? I think for Cleveland it's gonna work. And Hunter, I think, was a really nice move for them.
Yeah, so if you're Karis LeVert, you can't be too excited this week going from the top seed in the East as sixth man, the guy that would, comfortably come off the bench and score a bunch of points, to now going to a rebuilding Atlanta team where, I mean, I guess your role, because you're Karis LeVert, like your role is probably not going to change much. You're pretty one-dimensional, but like now you're not hitting the playoffs. But yeah, no, I agree with you. That's a great move. And Cleveland's set up, man. They are set up. If somebody's going to take down Boston, I'm still not sure they're going to take down Boston. But if somebody's going to take down Boston, I mean, it's got to be Cleveland, right? Like, I don't know if the Knicks in that 2-3 seed game can do it. I worry about New York's fatigue in May. Like, it's going to be
just their defense too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, by that time, it's going to be game 100. Like, they're literally going to play 80 games. They're going to play a 5-6 game series, and so it's going to be 90. But 5-6 game series in round one. And I just worry that New York won't have enough. Boston's kind of coasting, to be quite honest with you, like chucking a lot of threes and just kind of coasting through some of these games. If anybody's going to beat Cleveland, or if anybody's going to beat Boston, it's got to be Cleveland.
Yeah, I feel comfortable saying that Boston and Cleveland are the two best teams in the East, and it's not particularly close. I know a lot of people like the Knicks, and the Knicks do a lot of things really well, particularly on offense.
Yeah.
But they didn't really do anything at the deadline. So it's not like they improved their depth at all. They're still, if Brunson gets hurt, if Towns gets hurt, then I think they're in trouble. So yeah, they're the number 3 for me, but still, like, they're a ways behind Boston and Cleveland. The other trade here that the Lakers made happened again late at night. I woke up to it. I was like, oh boy, I didn't have 53 text messages waiting for me when I saw that the Lakers got Mark Williams. There's no way that people watch this amount of Charlotte Hornets basketball, because the amount of Mark Williams talk that I saw online about, oh, Mark Williams, he's going to be an absolute stud, or oh, Mark Williams, he sucks, he's garbage. Like, no way people are watching Charlotte Hornets basketball. They're just going and looking at his stats and at box scores, and they're making all of their predictions. Like, here's what I know about Mark Williams. I know that he's 8 months younger than Dalton Connect, which is insane, considering that Mark Williams has been in the league for 3 years. I know that I don't even know how, but his standing reach is taller than Victor Wembanyama, despite being like 5 inches shorter. I don't understand that, but
it's 9'9".
Yeah, how is that even
possible? Stand there at 9'9".
How is that possible? Just like to have one that's taller than a guy who's 7'5" or whatever. Wemby is 7'4".
I mean, his arms are massive, right?
Yeah. I also know that he gets hurt a lot.
Yes. I mean, so he played in 43 games his first year, 19 his second, and he's played in 23 this year. So yeah, he gets hurt a lot. But let me ask you, and I'm not pretending to be a Mark Williams expert. Does he get hurt a lot? Or is the culture in Charlotte so soft that he's got a little injury and he can't fight through it?
I don't know, because it feels like it's an Anthony Davis situation, because Anthony Davis, for his career, has always battled the injury prone label, which deserving, right? But he's never had the monster, oh, I'm going to tear my Achilles, I'm going to tear my ACL, oh, I'm out for the year. It's always like a series of kind of smaller injuries, or like, oh, I sprained my ankle, oh, I bruised this. Like, it's always things like that. And to be honest with you, I don't know if those are the same types of injuries for Mark Williams.
Yeah.
If it's like those, and it's just like, oh, what's the point of rushing back and playing? Like, this team sucks. We win 18 games a year. Like, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, like, I'm kind of what people were saying with Luka, and the conditioning concerns, maybe that changes just playing with LeBron, being with the Lakers on a team that feels like it's ready to compete for a championship. Perhaps Mark Williams benefits from some of that as well. But again, like, I'm not sitting here and claiming that that's the case. Maybe Mark Williams is just too big for his own body and he just has trouble being healthy. But like, on the surface, I think the move works really well, and Luka Doncic reportedly was very much in favor of getting someone who could fly to the basket, who could go up for lobs, and Williams, like, checks all the boxes of that type of big man that's going to be perfect for what Luka wants there. The question is, how often is he going to be able to be there to provide that support? But like, it's a move that helps him now, and he's 23. Like, he's going to help long term as well.
Yeah. So Luka plans on playing Monday. It sounds like Mark Williams is going to be in the lineup on Monday.
I would imagine by Monday. Yeah. But I mean, hell, maybe he even makes his debut by tomorrow. The trade was finally official last night, so maybe Saturday might be cutting it close a little bit. So I like the idea of both of them debuting together and just like unveiling it there, and then
Yeah, no, I'm interested in seeing the new look Lakers on Monday. But yes, Mark Williams also played at Duke, which most people don't even realize, and that's crazy because like Duke guys feel like they're marketed more than about anybody. He just was kind of a guy on that team. 23 years old, 7 foot. Like, he's a dude. So
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm really interested and excited for you to see your new look Lakers.
Yeah, and people mentioning that he had some sort of past relationship with JJ Redick because of their Duke connections. I think he was all defense or defensive player of the year in the ACC.
Yeah, that sounds right. Well,
So
when you're 7 foot and can reach 9'9",
Yeah.
you're pretty good defensively.
Right. Yeah, you got guys from like NC State coming up to you and it just blocks their shots. But like, so clearly he knows how to play defense. But then you see people that are like, oh, this guy isn't playing any sort of defense in the NBA. I mean, we talk all the time, right, about big men against Charlotte.
Yeah.
And that's going up against Mark Williams. Now, is that he's incapable of it, or is it he's just not really trying as hard? And I think we're gonna figure that out very soon here. Once he's with the Lakers, like how good he actually can be on defense, like if it is something where it's an issue or it's just an effort thing. Yeah, I hope it's just an effort thing and just him being on a losing team affected his play, because if it's the former and he can't play defense, well, then there's going to be some problems.
Yeah, but people also don't realize that, like, if you're guard, so it's okay. So if you're a post player and people are bashing your defense, you got to understand that your guard's defense probably sucks too. And like, you're literally now guarding 4 giant humans in the lane because your guards have been toasted off the dribble or they're nowhere to be seen. So like, how much is this going to be? Okay, now I've got LeBron and his 6'8" stature over there. I've got Luka, who isn't a great defensive player, but is very smart and pretty witty. Like, he gets steals, his hands are active. You know, you've got so now let's really see what Mark Williams can do on defense. It isn't the bigs versus Charlotte thing. Is that real? Now we're gonna go bigs against the Lakers. But I do think you'll see a better defensive Mark Williams with the Lakers.
You know what I think is funny too, because clearly Rob Pelinka is like I'm sure he's been looking at Mark Williams for a little while. So last month when they played the Lakers, and I think Anthony Davis had the 22-11 in the first quarter or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, that was up against Mark Williams. And that game, he was like 5 of 13, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4 fouls. It's just funny the way that GMs do, where they can watch the guy and be like, you know what? I like that. I'm actually going to trade our guy and we're going to replace him with this guy who just got cooked by Anthony Davis. Like, it's funny to me how they can watch that and still feel confident in their moves, because it's not just about one game. But I don't know, just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of film. They got a lot of experts that work under them. Hey, I really like this guy. I like his length, whatever. And we as fans, like you said, just take that one game sample and it's like, oh, he kind of sucks. But like, and I'm sure they've talked about his culture, his ability to move from, Charlotte. What kind of things will help him in LA as opposed to Charlotte? They talk about all that. So it'll be fun. I'm excited to see it.
All right, one more quick topic on the NBA, and then we'll begrudgingly get to Chiefs Eagles. Do you, Rodney, feel like who the best team in the NBA is today? Has it changed because of the deadline, or do you believe that yes, this team is the best? I'm picking them right now.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of giving a little bit of a cop out here. I still think Oklahoma City is the best from top to bottom, the team to beat in the NBA. And then I'm still going to go Boston in the East. I've got Boston and Oklahoma City as my 2 best teams. But your Lakers are now a team that I'm like, yeah, I think if things come together, they come right. Like, I did not think your Lakers could do this before the trade deadline. Like, the LeBron, Anthony Davis, like they were decent. They were 28-19 before the break. Okay, good. 4th, 5th in the West, whatever. But I didn't see them getting over the hump. Now I can see them getting over the hump. I could see Cleveland. And I could see Cleveland before. I probably was more like 60-40 Boston. Now I'm maybe more like 55-45 Boston. I still like Boston to win the East. But to answer your question, no, I do not know who the best team in the league is. And the trade deadline basically just helped me get Cleveland and Lakers even closer to being a contender. Now, I mean, I don't understand. Memphis just didn't want to make any moves.
Well, they did make moves. They traded Marcus Smart.
By elimination.
Bob Myers yesterday on ESPN leaked. I think. Well, I don't know. Leaked is the right word, but very casually mentioned information that wasn't previously reported, that the Grizzlies were one of the teams that was trying at Kevin Durant, and I think Durant pretty much was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." Yeah. But so like the Grizzlies were trying, and I would imagine Durant going to Memphis would certainly alter sort of the power structure in the Western Conference. But yeah, it was moving off of Marcus Smart. They got Marvin Bagley, Johnny Davis. Like, it was very just sort of.
Yeah. So I don't see them making that move to get better. I mean, the Knicks didn't really do the Nuggets did absolutely nothing, which I was a little appalled by. Like, I just feel like the Nuggets, they got their title. Now they're like, we'll just see how things go here.
Yeah, it's
and like,
weird,
does Jokic even want to win another title? I don't even know as if that's the case. Like, then he can be home in May instead of late June. I don't know.
Yeah, do the Nuggets know they're allowed to like win multiple championships or spend money or improve their team? Because it just seems like it's like, no, we like our guys, we're good. Yeah. And they made moves in the past. They were aggressive. They traded for Aaron Gordon a few years ago, and that was a move that paid off for them. But yeah, like, they don't really add bench guys. They're just like, you know what? We're good. We got Jokic, which honestly, like, Nikola Jokic, if he plays, is going to be the best player on the court in any game. Any game that he's on. That's a huge advantage for them. But, like, Jamal Murray can be really good. Other times he can be not so good. Michael Porter, same thing. Like, they got a lot of guys who can turn it on, but those same guys can just go cold. Like, Michael Porter and Jamal Murray can have games where they look really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking down the list. Like, Milwaukee with Kevin Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., okay. Like, Milwaukee was still dangerous with Dame and Giannis. I don't see those two guys necessarily moving that needle to, like, oh man. I mean, Milwaukee's still the fourth best team in the East to me. Like their moves didn't make them for me any better than New York, Boston, or Cleveland. So I didn't really think Milwaukee moved that needle. Indiana really didn't do anything at 29 and 21. So to answer your question, I still like Oklahoma City. I still like Boston, and the Cavs and the Lakers kind of moved up to my number 2 in both the East and West.
I'll stick with the Cavs here.
Yeah,
I'll stick with the Cavs. They're the best team. They have the best offense in the NBA, the best shooting percentage, but they're also a top 10 defense. I think they're 8th in defensive rating right now. Typically, you want to be elite at least offense or defense, and the Cavs certainly have that. Like, really, there's 4 teams to me that I look at and I'm like, all right, you can legitimately win a championship. I think it's the Cavs. I think it's the Celtics. I think it's the Thunder. And then that 4th one sort of just is like, on paper, it shouldn't be Memphis, but statistically, Memphis is right there. But that's probably reserved for maybe the Lakers now because of the moves that they just made. Maybe it's still Denver, and we're just like not factoring in Jokic. And Denver still is a really good offensive team as well. So, yeah, Cavs, Celtics, Thunder. I would say right now, if it was like one of those 3 teams in the field to win it all, I'm taking one of those 3 teams. But I'll take Cleveland because an elite offense, really good defense. They meet that 40-20 criteria, right? They have 41 wins and only 10 losses right now. Which as of today, it's only them and OKC that have officially hit that. Boston they have to go basically like 500 in their next 8 games to meet that. So Boston, just from experience, is going to be a favorite against Cleveland if they play in an Eastern Conference final, which I get. And you could say Jason Tatum's the best player on the floor, which I get. But Cleveland having home court advantage, I think, is going to be a really big factor for them as well, that they don't have to go on the road. So I'll say Cleveland right now. I'll give them the respect, and then probably followed by Boston. and then OKC would be my number 3. Although Chet Holmgren's back.
Yeah.
You haven't played a lot of basketball without Chet Holmgren. They went 40-9 without him. So
yeah. So you mentioned Cleveland being at home, and Boston just beat Cleveland on the road. So Boston's actually the best road team in the league at 20-6, and Cleveland's the best home team at 24-4. So that'll be a great series if that's the Eastern Conference Finals. You're right. I think Boston is going to be a slight favorite because of their experience in being the defending champs. But one thing to consider is if it's the Knicks against Boston, like the Knicks are going to fatigue Boston a little bit in that series before. Now, whereas Cleveland's going to get somebody like the Bucks, can the Bucks fatigue Cleveland? I don't know. Maybe the Pacers could be that team. I look at the East and I'm like, the Pacers literally could be a top 4. I don't love the Pacers' chance at really contending with Cleveland in that second round matchup.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that second round. If it's Knicks Celtics, I mean that's a tough one for Boston. That's tough.
Very much. I think it could go 6-7 games, and Boston gets the Eastern Conference Finals a little beat up, a little fatigued. Obviously they're going to have to win their first round first, but Knicks Boston would be a great series. New York Boston in the second round, and the ratings are going to be quite high for that one. People are going to want to see that series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just real quick, I'm looking at the Western Conference too. So it's really funny that all of the teams near the top. So OKC stayed as is, right? Yeah. Status quo. Mm-hmm. Memphis traded Marcus Smart, but didn't really do anything else. Denver did nothing. Houston tried. I don't think Houston really did anything either. Minnesota tried, didn't do anything. Like only the Lakers were a team in the top 6 that actually made moves and was really aggressive. But all of the teams that made these big moves in the West are all the ones that are in the play-in or worse. Like Clippers made a couple trades. Dallas obviously shook things up. Phoenix was really trying to make moves happen. They got rid of Nurkic, but talking Durant, talking Butler, Kings trading Fox, Golden State with Butler, Spurs with De'Aaron Fox. Like all of those bottom tier teams are like, we got to do something here. We got to compete. Whereas all the top 6 teams, minus the Lakers, are like, we're okay. And normally it's the opposite. Typically, if you feel like you're right there near the top, you're a top 3 team in the Western Conference, you're like, we need one more player to push us over. As opposed to, well, we're the 11th team in the West right now, but we really want to blow everything up so we can become the 7th team in the West. Right. Like it's a weird way of thinking about it.
Which brings me to the point. We spent 38 minutes talking mostly NBA here and haven't gotten to this one. I want to put on the agenda for Tuesday, Chicago Bulls plan.
No.
Yeah. Not today. We don't have enough time for today. But like you're talking about these teams and they're getting better to make that play in. That's kind of what the Bulls are like hoping for. Like their GM literally is like, making a play-in game is kind of our goal. And like
the exact quote. There's different structures that you can try to get to a championship. There's 2 to 3 star players and then a lot of role players, or you can build it as 9 to 10 very good players. He says they're building toward the latter model.
So they want 9 or 10 really good players,
as opposed to 2 or 3 stars and a bunch of role players. Because historically, the NBA, you can win all the championships without a single star player.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: do they have 9 to 10 really good players?
I mean, they have some. I mean, what do you? Yeah, I don't know what you consider really good players because obviously they're really good players. They were in the NBA. They're
okay. Yeah, NBA players. Yes, they technically have 9 to 10 NBA players on their team, but like if they're trying to contend for a title, right, with 9 to 10 really good players, like they just traded Zach LaVine, so it's Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Nikola Vucevic, Lonzo Ball, Mattis Buzelis. They just got Kevin Huerter. Like it. That's not 9 to 10. That's not 9 to 10. I'm at 5 or 6 right now, and I'm already struggling to fill out the rest here.
Yeah, Dan's got a good point. We're building towards that model, Red, as our guys suck. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, and I know again, I don't want to get too much on the Bulls here because we want to move to this. We do need to move to the Super Bowl. It is the Friday before, but like their path, I don't get. Like Billy Donovan, bless his heart, he's going to stay and he's making it through this rebuild. But like, is it really a rebuild, or is it we're content being 10th in the East pretty much every year? To me, it's not a rebuild.
It is so, man, they had it so good for like 3 months. Alonzo came, he was healthy. Remember when they were the top team in the East? Like 3 months?
Yeah.
Alonzo, that makes me sad. All right. I guess we should talk Super Bowl. Rodney, I was trying to think of a good like game to play, because listen, you've probably heard all of the analysis right now and everyone has their opinions. I'm someone who on like Championship Sunday, once we finally know what the matchup is, like whatever my gut says right then, I try my darndest to make sure like that's what I'm staying at. And that Sunday, I was like, Eagles are going to win. The Eagles are a better team. Here we are a couple days before, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Because it's and honestly, my thinking is for two reasons. Number one, I think the Eagles are just a better football team. They just have more talent, right? Despite overwhelming evidence saying, like, historically, coaches in the rematch, it's the first coach that always wins, which would be Andy Reid. And I don't know. And also number two, this has been the worst football season, like as a Giants fan in ever, right? It's the worst season in franchise history, constant embarrassment. You don't get the number one pick. Eli Manning is not a Hall of Famer. Saquon Barkley has 2,000 yards for the Eagles, wins Offensive Player of the Year. Like, it's only fitting that the bow to wrap that shit present is the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, right? And then John Mara's face, his deadened expression, just being memed all over the place because they let Saquon Barkley walk and he went and won a Super Bowl for his biggest rival. Like, as the stupidest sports show on earth, I feel like that's legitimate analysis for why I think the Eagles are going to win. So there you go. But I want to ask you this, Rodney. Can you see, like, if so-and-so happens, then this? So, like, it probably should have named it a little bit better. But basically, it's like, think of it as like, if the Eagles are going to win, then this needs to happen. If the Chiefs are going to win, then this needs to happen. Like something like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to get to that in just a second. But you brought up Eli Manning not making the Hall of Fame yet. Also, Torrey Holt.
There's so many guys. There's so many guys. I looked at that, like Steve Smith, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Eli Manning, Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, but like
Adam Vinatieri's a kicker, but like, come on, guys.
Sterling Sharp never should have made over Torrey Holt.
Well, Sterling Sharp was in like basically the NFL version of the Veterans Committee. But
anyways,
I digress.
If the Eagles turn it over one time, then the Chiefs win.
Yeah, I mean, but also they could do it without the team turning it over 0 times, like Buffalo did. But yeah, I agree. I agree.
If Barkley goes for 100 plus, then the Eagles win. We said last week players don't go for more than 80, 88 in a game, and Kansas City does a great job on individual running backs. The Eagles are not going to bring a committee at you at running backs. Like, it's going to be Saquon Barkley. Like, Will Shipley had a touchdown. I don't even know the status of Kenneth Gainwell, nor do I care. I really honestly don't care. I don't know as if it matters to me. But if Barkley goes for 100 plus rushing yards, then the Eagles win. Although, and I'm continuing here, although if they turn it over, they lose.
Yeah. So the official thing. So this was afterwards when we realized that the best running back performance this year against them was who was it? Jerome Ford, 80-something yards, right? I said this to you guys on Wednesday. The Chiefs have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in any of their last 18 playoff games dating back to 2019. So essentially, in the like Mahomes Super Bowl era, throughout this whole dynasty, they have not allowed a 100-yard rusher, and they faced some good ones. Like, they've faced some good ones. It's not like, oh, well, they haven't faced a running back like Saquon Barkley. Like, no, they faced Christian McCaffrey in
Yeah.
2 of those Super Bowls, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like,
No,
yeah.
they're elite against the top running backs. And that's where, if Barkley can crack that code, and he's done that all year, like they've found ways to get him open, get him space all year. If the Eagles can crack that code, they will win this game. But if not, I don't see Jalen Hurts throwing his way to the Super Bowl here. I don't see that as a possibility. Maybe, but so you started with, you were going back and forth. Like, who are you picking here, bro? Like, yes. So like you've had 11 days. You've had 11 days.
I know.
This is your one moment. Episode 41 has been your moment to make your Super Bowl prediction. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm going to take them 31-24.
Woo!
31-24. 17 to 10 at halftime.
Yeah.
31-24 final. There we go. What do you get? Yeah, Eagles for me.
So this is also part of the equation for me. Do I try to put my Tim curse on it? Tim curse is well documented, where if I'm loudly confident about something, it's always wrong in the most hilarious of ways. And I really, really, really do not want the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl for obvious reasons. So I'm like, you know what? Do I Tim curse it? Do I go all in on the Eagles? But like, here's the thing. I have to believe it too. And I could sit here and be like, oh, the Eagles, they're going to destroy them. I don't know if I believe it. I would just be saying it. I don't know, man. I admit this is awful prediction. And I really don't know.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, probably the Chiefs. Like, probably the Chiefs again. Like, probably the Chiefs are going to win. I think. I mean, I don't know, three-peat. And you said yourself, if you feel like it's rigged, I don't think it's rigged, but like, I don't know. I think the NFL would like three-peat. That's just.
You're going Chiefs. All right, Tim picked the Chiefs.
I'll go Chiefs. And like, here's the thing. I've also said all year that the Eagles aren't good. I feel like if it took me until week 17 for me to be like, the Eagles are a good football team. Like, yeah. But then I'm going to say it with just like very little confidence, much reluctance, and just sort of like so we can like disagree. So then one of us on Tuesday can bloat.
Yeah, Tuesday night at 9 p.m. 48 hours after. Yeah.
That was awful. I'm so sorry for that, man. Like that hemming and hawing was just awful, and I take full responsibility for it. It's just, this is what happens. Like the Eagles. Here's my prediction: the Eagles will have twice as many yards as the Kansas City Chiefs. They won't have any turnovers. Saquon Barkley will have 100 rushing yards, and they will lose.
Okay.
Because that's how it goes. How it goes.
That's how it goes. And maybe it'll be the old Gatorade talk like we had Tuesday. Philadelphia wins at the end, but oh no, there's still time on the clock. Sirianni and Andy Reid both get dumped with Gatorade because the Chiefs score in the final seconds. That would be a memorable Super Bowl. We may have to have an emergency Monday morning show if that happens.
If that's it, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean,
is it an emergency show if it's like you get a good night's sleep beforehand? I think an emergency show would be right after the game ends. We're hopping out and we're doing a podcast. But
would be, yeah. I mean, with the way the Super Bowl goes, it'll be over about 11:30. Start at 5:30, over at 11:30. Yeah, we'll get hour halftime show. There'll be 9 sets of commercials each period. Yeah, it's I'm already looking at a late night on Sunday. But anyways, yeah, I'll go Eagles 31-24. You're gonna just take the Chiefs, period. End of story.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs, period, end of story, but just with the most hemming and hawing and the least amount of confidence that anyone could have as a prognosticator. I'm sorry, everyone. That was awful. Just really, really bad. It's not radio, podcasting, I guess. I'm sorry.
So we've kind of cut a little bit short today because we've done some shows that have been well over an hour. So I feel like we could probably be under an hour today. But I do want to get this one out from Dan. Since 2007, running backs have rushed for 100 plus yards in the Super Bowl. Okay, so that's 25 years or so. 7 running backs have rushed for 100 plus yards in the Super Bowl. Their teams are 4-3 in those games. 2007, the Colts Bears saw both running backs hit that mark. All right, good nugget here from Dan. So it doesn't necessarily show that if you have a running back of 100 yards or more, you're necessarily going to win the game. 4-3 is not a ringing endorsement for 100 yards. That's the positive. Like there is no thing where it says 100 yards, you're going to win.
Yeah,
it's a good one there, Dan. I like that.
Yeah. So we do know this, though. We do know this, that if the Eagles win, it would break the streak of the coach rematch in the Super Bowl, where the loser from the first one beats the victor from the first one. So
yeah. And that's how this is hard for me picking the Eagles, and you know why I'm picking the Eagles, because I picked the Eagles in July, right? I'm not backtracking from this, but I will admit, like, this is very difficult for me to be like, yeah, Nick Sirianni's team is going to beat Andy Reid, right? Like, we've seen Andy Reid's team in these games, like, absolutely 100% prepared, do everything right, and now I'm going to go out there with this buffoon as Nick Sirianni. Like, yeah, he's going to have his guys prepared. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to beat.
Will he cry during the anthem again? I don't think so.
Okay, so when that happened 2 years ago, it was kind of. I mean, I know you don't like Nick Sirianni. Maybe you didn't dislike him as much 2 years ago, but I was kind of like, wow, when he did that 2 years ago. Now it's kind of funny because, like, it's Nick Sirianni, but, like, he was bawling. He was absolutely just gushing tears.
So stupid. Yeah, no, it was at the moment it happened. It was insane to me.
Yeah, but you can't fake those tears.
No, I'm not saying he faked it, but the fact that he let himself get so emotional for that, like, dude, no.
Yeah, he's excited. If you were the head coach in the Super Bowl, you may be crying right now.
I would never cry during the anthem in general. No. But here's the thing: act like you've been there before. I know he hadn't been there before, but act like it. Like, come on, dude, you're a head coach.
Did he have his hand on his heart?
Clearly, let his emotions get the better of him because he had to be talked down by his own quarterback in that game. Like, I don't think you'll see it this time.
The major question is, did he have his hand on his heart? Because that's obviously all that matters. Dan says, best way to beat the Chiefs: don't give Spags 2 weeks to prepare against your team. He's going to have a fascinating game plan to slow down Saquon while not getting torched by A.J. Brown. I mean, yeah, Dan, and that's where I'm at here too. And again, I picked the Eagles because I'm pot committed on the Eagles. But yeah, like the game plan that Kansas City is going to come up with, I know is going to be very good. Like, I don't hate Kansas City by any means, and if I hadn't have picked the Eagles in July, I'm pretty sure I'd be picking Kansas City right now. And maybe I should just quietly put money on Kansas City and say, yeah, I picked the Eagles. I could do that. I could certainly do that. So here's the deal. And I know this is against most, like, professional bettors book of ways to do it. I have not put a single penny on this game yet. Not put a single. I'm a type that likes to wait the day of or hours before. And I get it. Like, listen, if you're listening for this for gambling advice, well, first of all, quit, because that's a bad idea. But I know, like, you're supposed to get the early lines and, like, be ahead of the odds makers and all that shit. But, like, I haven't done a single penny. So I seriously could be like, yeah, I'm taking the Eagles, and just go throw money on the Chiefs. But I'm not going to do that. I will bet on the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday.
I can always tell whenever you have any sort of financial investment in a game. You make it very obvious just in your text messages in our group chat.
Yeah, I'm not going to go. I probably won't be to that point here. Like, I'm not going to overdo this one. I try not to overdo it just because it's a Super Bowl. Now, it is the last football game, and I haven't really gotten too dialed into college or NBA yet. I probably will more college here as February gets here. So it won't be I mean, there's a couple contests I'm in that maybe I could use some things to happen, but I don't know. I mean, you already know this one, but yes, I agree. Like, it's easy. Yeah. If I'm emotional one side or the other of our text group, then I'm probably bet on them, right? Like, that makes sense.
The hedge angle is good, especially for me. Like I feel like even though I'm picking the Chiefs, I'll probably bet on the Eagles here.
Yeah.
And you've probably seen this, that the bulk of the big money that's coming in terms of, oh, so and so put $500,000 on this, $800,000. The majority of those big money bets are on Eagles money line and the under.
Yeah.
And I think the under's already moved from 49.5 down to 49. But I find it funny that people that are maybe betting big money, and maybe it's different people and just it's a coincidence, but like I feel like if the Eagles win, it's not because it's a low scoring game. Like I feel like the under benefits the Chiefs more so than it benefits the Eagles. You see what I'm saying? Like if the Eagles do it, like the Eagles are going to do it by putting up 30 plus points and giving up 24, and the overs are going to hit easily.
Yeah, I would guess a low scoring defensive slugfest would benefit Kansas City. Like Harrison Butker kicks 4 field goals and they win 19-17, right? Like
that's if Mike Tomlin's Steelers were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that's Kansas City. That's Kansas City. I mean, that's kind of what Andy Reid and Spagnuolo would like to do. Whereas you're right, Sirianni would probably prefer this to be 31-27, and he favors himself over that. But now, okay, well, now you're going against Patrick Mahomes in a shootout, and if you give him the ball late in the game, you never know. But I would guess offensive game favors Philadelphia and a defensive game favors Kansas City.
All right, should we officially move on to best 41s?
I think so. I think we've exhausted our NFL talk for today. Best 40. I mean, easily for me, best 41 here. I got one that comes right to mind.
I'm curious if it's the same one that I have, because I pulled up some good ones for baseball and for the NBA.
I mean, Dirk Nowitzki.
Ooh, you know what? I did not get to Dirk yet. I got one for baseball though.
I mean, that's Tom Seaver, right?
Tom Seaver.
Yeah. Those to me were the top two. I don't know. I went Dirk, maybe more modern than Tom Seaver was.
I mean, yes, definitely more modern.
Yeah, and maybe that's why he was my for sure number one. Because both these guys obviously are very good. NBA, Wes Unseld was 41.
Yep.
Glenn Rice was 41.
Sure.
You said you pulled up baseball. I believe Eddie Matthews was 41, right?
Eddie Matthews was 41. Yeah, so I would say Tom Seaver and Eddie Matthews are the two that were like two best that were most prominently associated with number 41.
Yeah.
Darrell Evans played 70s, 80s, Giants, Tigers. He was 41. A couple of more like modern day players that our generation would know. Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
John Lackey.
Yeah. Oh, my buddy John Lackey. All right.
I love John Lackey. Now, like it's been far enough removed from him betraying me and leaving for Boston. Like I do love John Lackey. Victor Martinez, also 41.
Okay. So if Hockey Guy Dan is still with us on the show, he will know many of these in the National Hockey League in pucks. So 41 is kind of a goalie number.
Yeah,
it really is a goalie number. Mike Smith, 41. Mike Smith.
Long-time Coyote.
Yeah, Craig Anderson.
Yep, 41. Senator.
Yep. And I believe, wasn't Yaroslav Halak number 41? I believe he was 41.
I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt there with Yaroslav Halak, but
yeah, I believe he was 41. Just kind of looking at some NHL here. It looks like we have a comment. I'll pull this one up here real quick. Comment says the best for hot. Yeah, there you go. Yaroslav Halak. It is 41. All right, I got that one right. But yeah, 41 is a little bleak. I did this a couple weeks ago and said 42 is a number I liked as a kid, and so I'm going to have some here coming up on 42, which will be Tuesday's show. But yeah, Yaroslav Halak maybe being one of the best 41s in top 5 is not real good.
No. Any for NFL here?
NFL 41.
I can pull that up here. I finally have figured out a good way to find these these ones here, because it's like instead of just going to ranker.com, I'm actually going to Basketball Reference and Baseball Reference, and they have like all players to wear 41. Finally, this is good. Alvin Kamara's 41.
Yeah. Alvin. Yeah, I like Alvin. Emick
Eugene
Robertson.
Robinson.
Yeah, Emick Robinson. Emick, yeah. Wearing number 41. Who was it? The Raiders, right? Yeah.
For Eugene Robinson?
Or no, I was thinking Emick Robertson.
No.
Quarterback for the Raiders, yes.
No, I was thinking of the safety, like longtime Seattle Seahawk,
yes.
80s, 90s, Green Bay, Atlanta. Yeah. The Prophet.
Okay.
Terrence Newman. But it's like a defensive back number too.
Yeah.
41.
Outside of Kamara.
Zach Cunningham.
Dan says no NHL team has retired 41, 42, or 43. Prongs is the next retired number. Chris Pronger. Chris Pronger's my guy. It's my St. Louis Blues, man. They are a absolute disaster.
They've fallen off, because I know, like, as soon as they hired Monty, they had a little bit of a run there. They've cooled a bit.
They've cooled a lot. They are now 24, 26, and 5, 3, 6, and 1 in their last 10. Got beat last night at home in regulation to the Florida Panthers.
My Anaheim
Blues Blackhawks coming up tomorrow.
Oh, good. Is it outdoors again?
yeah, they're gonna do it at Busch Stadium this time.
Dude,
no, not outdoors.
The Blackhawks have a nationally televised game, at least one of them every single week.
Speaking of the Blackhawks, they've lost 3 in a row in 6 of their last 7. They're not very good.
I was gonna say my Anaheim Ducks are only 1 point behind your St. Louis Blues, with 2 fewer games played.
Yeah, fighting for the 10th seed in the West.
Hey man.
11th. We're behind the hockey club. That's how pathetic it is.
Don't even have a name. Did you see the logos and the name choices for Utah?
Well, what did they settle on one?
No, so they're having the fans that are going to their next 4 home games vote for their choice. So the names, it's Mammoth. Yeah. They can't use Yeti, because I think Yeti was going to be the choice, but they had some trademark issues. So it's Mammoth, Outlaws, and Hockey Club. And which are like, okay, whatever. But then there was some leaks of the potential logos, what they would look like. I mean, these logos are like straight out of NHL 14. They look bad. They look really, really bad.
Yeah, I don't love any of those that come to mind, the Mammoth or the
Outlaws.
Yeah, I don't love either one of those. I mean, Hockey Club is fine. It's kind of dumb, but kind of...
yeah, like I don't know, man, because it's other sports like soccer. You see it all the time where you could just be Utah Hockey Club and it's totally fine. But if you're just the only team in your league that doesn't have a nickname, it just it feels weird to me. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe Mammoth will get the win, but like still, it sounds like a lacrosse league team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're 10th. They're 10th. Blues are 11th. Ducks are 12th. Our teams suck. Anyways, I think that's probably enough for today.
Yeah.
Wrapping up the show. We'll be back on Tuesday for show 42. Excited for that.
Or Sunday night for an emergency podcast if Sirianni gets prematurely dumped on with Gatorade and they lose.
Yeah, so we need parameters. Like if this happens, we have an emergency show Sunday night. I think that's probably it. If Sirianni gets prematurely dumped on, then we will be on. I promise you we will be on. And that would be hilarious.
Yes. And then we have to put out the recording of us talking about it on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It shows that we prophesize this, and then we become famous, and then the show blows up, and next thing you know, we've bumped McAfee. So.
See ya, Pat. One more thing. Dan says Utah couldn't be the Yeti because of a drink container, but Stanley can release Stanley Cups. Great brand protection. National Hockey League. Yeah, I'm with you. Seems strange, but that is the truth. That is the truth.
All right, let's get out of here. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everyone. I think I will. I don't know.
We sure gave it a ringing endorsement. I can tell you that. We spent. So we're on hour 5. We probably spent 10 of it talking Super Bowl.
No, it more than that. A little bit, maybe. I don't know. Okay, yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, like we open up the show, be like, hey, the Super Bowl that neither of us are super pumped about, and our audience doesn't care about. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A reminder that you can follow us at Stupid Sports Show on Twitter. Most of you that are watching are probably doing it there, so thank you for that. Make sure to give us a follow. You can check out any of the previous 40 episodes of the Stupidest Sports Show on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure, if you haven't done so already, Rodney is just raking it in. He's already building an extension to his mansion that you see in the background right now because of all of the units that he's won from these Substack bets. I mean, you were killing it right now.
Yeah, Substack every day comes in your email. Usually comes in the 3:00 hour or so on weekdays and 10:00 hour on weekends, and put some picks out there, and hope they do well. So that's what's going on. But yes, thank you for plugging the Substack. It's pretty easy to sign up for. Comes your email, and it's free.
For now. Well, I mean, if you keep winning like 8 units a day, eventually you gotta start paying for this shit because it's just too much.
Right.
Too much. Yeah. And I'm sure you would charge a very reasonable fee of $300 a week.
A week. Yeah. Right.
But what are these like pick sharks like to charge?
About right. That's about right.
Yeah. Very reasonable. And Rodney's giving you you're like plus 25 or 26 units through the first 5 or 6 weeks of February here.
It's been a good start to the year.
Free people. So make sure to sign up for that on Substack.
Sounds
All
good.
right, let's get out of here. For Rodney Newpel, this is Tim, Agent Zero Van Stratton. And thanks for listening to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. We'll be back maybe Sunday night to talk about a very wet and sad Nick Sirianni. Most likely, though, we'll see you Tuesday night to recap Super Bowl and everything else that's happening in the sports world. So see you, Rodney, and see you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Step right up, dummies, and listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth with Rodney Newpel and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah.